started. I think our live streaming is up. We have several things on our agenda tonight. We have a guest speaker, somebody from Maryland 529. Brian Kelly is here tonight. We have Dr. Baines, who's going to be talking about student-based budgeting. And then we have to present to you all our proposed budget for the next fiscal year, or the next school year, I should say. So we have several things to get through. Thank you all for being here. I know several people were at park, some of you have stayed, and other people have come. It feels like it's busy tonight here. So we will try to keep on time even though we're starting a few minutes late. The first order of business is reviewing the minutes from the February meeting. Did anyone have any comments, corrections? If not, we just need a motion to approve the February minutes. Okay. Can you remind me of your name, sir?
Joel.
Joel.
Kramer.
Kramer, in a second. Thank you. All right, and in the interest of efficiency, we're going to turn it right over to Dr. Baines. That's really what everyone wants to hear. Who everyone wants to hear from anyways.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out this evening. As you stated, it's like a busy time of the year. I think the last couple weeks, while teachers, we all enjoy those 2-hour delays, but they start to like really catch up with us. We have them for like a week straight or so. And so we've just been trying to, activities were canceled, reschedule honor rolls. We weren't able to do this. So we've been really, really busy. I was just telling them, the three of us, we had Camp Schmidt last night for 5th graders, so they spent the night. I went down and I stayed as late as I could. I had to get my daughter to school the next day, so I shouldn't say. But, you know, at Camp Schmidt last night, get home at 11 o'clock, get up, come to work. We planned, and we planned the activities. We planned park night before the PTA meeting. I'm like, oh my gosh, we scheduled a staff meeting in the morning. So we have a staff meeting to be back here at 8:15 in the morning. So it's just really, really busy. You know, with our students, it's getting into the testing season. Our 5th grade students will be taking the Maryland Science Assessment the 3rd week in March. Around that time period is when they'll start that. And then PARC, which is the state assessment for the state of Maryland, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders will begin that in April. And so there will be a schedule. I met with Ms. Thornton, who's our testing coordinator, today, and we kind of talked about which grades will be testing before spring break, after spring break. They basically give us a window where we have to complete testing, complete makeup testing, and so we're going to make sure that we give that information to parents so you know when your child will be testing. The only thing we ask is, you know, if you can get them into bed at a reasonable time, give them breakfast, don't schedule appointments if possible on the days that they have testing. And so we will get that out to you as soon as we finalize the testing plan. Student-based budgeting. This is the time where we start to think about next school year already. Dr. Golson, our interim CEO, has really worked hard to say that one of the things that's her priority is compensation for all employees. What we find is that, you know, people come to Prince George's County, teachers, but then because we're in an area where there's so many school districts, in some places you live, there may only be one school district, so that's where you work. But we have Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Montgomery County, DC Public Schools. There's so many school districts right here. What we find is that a lot of our teachers leave to go to another school district to get paid more. And so even last year, we lost 3 teachers to other school districts, which, and you know, people really don't leave as, you know, it's not a high turnover here at our school. But when you think about everything else, raising the prices of everything else, of gas, you know, they felt like that was the best decision for them and their families. So hoping that the school system's budget will be approved so that she can offer raises to all of the employees. Another focus for Dr. Golson is reduced class sizes in K through 3. And so for the last I don't know how many years, we've used student-based budgeting. And so basically, student-based budgeting says, this is the projected enrollment for Greenbelt Elementary. It's usually somewhere around 550 to 600 students. And they have a per student dollar amount for each student. Last year, that was $3,177. I don't know if it'll be increased this year or if it'll change because I haven't received the information for the upcoming school year. But basically, you take that per student dollar amount, you multiply it by the number of students you're projected to have, and then I have to make decisions on which positions do I buy. And so usually what we do for student-based budgeting to get parents input is to send out a survey. We'll talk about it at PTA, but we'll send out a survey to say, okay, what are the priorities for you? And so class sizes has always been the top priority for us at Greenbelt. And so this year we have 4, we added a first grade teacher this year. So we have 5 teachers in first grade, which make their numbers, around 20 students, which is a nice number. We added a 4th grade teacher. So last year, our 4th grade numbers were really high. We had about 34, 35 kids in the class. And so we added a 4th grade teacher and we added a 5th grade teacher. And so we have 4 teachers on every grade level with the exception of first grade where we have 5. And so as a staff, we feel that if we have to have smaller classes, we definitely believe the philosophy of having it in K through 3 where we're really building the foundation. And so it's good to hear that Dr. Golson supports that as well. And then one of her other priorities was safety locks on doors. So in the event of an emergency, a lockdown situation, the way it is now is in order for teachers to lock their doors, they need to lock it with their keys. And a lot of the doors, you have to lock it from the outside. So you're thinking, if there was an intruder or someone in a building, in order for me to lock us in here, I got to go outside to lock it. So there's some sort of safety lock that they want to put on all the doors in every school in Prince George's County. And so once the school system's budget is approved, then they'll send out the money for each school. And so once we find out how much money we have, we kind of go through the process of, what are the top priorities here at Greenbelt. And like I said, class sizes always comes up. In the past, we've purchased our art teacher full-time. Most students in Prince George's County have art once or twice a semester. And so our kids have it once a week because we purchased Mr. Najee's position to make him full-time. We also purchased Ms. Polston, media specialist positions are half-time. We purchased Ms. Polston full-time so that the kids have access to the library on a daily basis. Ms. Polston does the technology with the students to get them keyboarding skills, technology literate. And we also purchased an additional halftime music and a halftime PE. So based on numbers, they're just like standard formulas for the county. But if you have less than 700 kids, more than I think it's 500 kids where we fall, you're entitled to 1.5 teachers for music and PE. But what happens is if you have 4, and that means 3 teachers will be here every day. But if you have 5 teachers or 5 classrooms or 4 classrooms, then you have to split 1 or 2 classes for every grade level specials. So then the teachers end up with 1.5 classes. And so it's especially for PE, when both PE teachers are there, it's just so many kids at times, you can't even really do anything with a whole lot of movement. So that's why we purchased the halftime music and halftime PE last year to accommodate that. But we will generate a survey that we'll send out. The teachers will send it out with their distributions for their weekly newsletter, and then we'll get responses from parents to see if there's anything else that parents are really interested in for next school year. Any questions? Well, I did a good
Can I
job.
just add to that, Dr. Gaines, that it's also, if you have friends who live in the area who will have incoming kindergartners, it's really important for them to register as soon as possible, because that helps with Dr. Gaines know what her numbers are going to be for that incoming kindergarten class. Because we've had some years here where it's been like a huge influx of kids, and then you're left kind of scrambling. And it's always worked out, but you know.
Right, and so really anyone, if you know someone is moving in, and it's just, I guess, human nature to after Labor Day, you say, oh, you know what, let's go register for school. But by then, they've already given us our money, we've already set up classes, and so at that point, it's difficult, it's just more difficult for us to try to figure out, you know, how to maneuver things, because everything is kind of already set in stone. And so anyone that you know for kindergarten, any grade level, actually, you know, say, go ahead and register early, because they do look at the projected enrollment, and then over the summer, they do watch our registrations to see if there's anything else that we need to do. As far as lowering class sizes here, the other thing I wanted to mention is just, you know, it's just also a space concern. And so while we could probably use another fourth grade teacher, fourth grade always has the largest numbers for some reason. But while we don't have any other space in the building. And so we had to transform our computer lab into a classroom, our science lab into a science and math classroom. So there's really like not any more space. And so the other options are the temporary buildings. But as you know, if you've ever been out to our playground area, when they came out to survey to see where we could put a temporary, even for like instrumental music, there's really nowhere on our school campus that a temporary would fit, other than the blacktop. So if we give it the blacktop, then that cuts down when it is like this type of weather where it's been raining and it's a nice day and kids can go outside, but you know, it's so wet, you can't really play. So we've been trying to stay away from having to get temporary buildings, because we either have to go on the blacktop, or then the other place they suggested was in the parking lot. And so we'll just see how, hopefully our numbers, if our numbers just stay like they are, and we don't have a, you know, a really high influx of any particular grade levels, I think that will be fine.
Is registration open now? I had two families asking if they can.
It opens up, I would have to get the date, but it's on a PGCPS website. It's usually in April that they open it up for all Prince George's County schools. Yeah.
Sorry. That's a question. You said we get $3,670 per student?
I said 3,177 was what we got last year. I'm not sure about this year.
Is that like the entire budget
For the school?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So based on the number of students you have, multiply times,
right.
Yep.
Dr. Gaines, we had a couple of questions about an April open house. Do we normally have one of those at the school?
You said we usually?
Yeah.
So we usually do. We try to have, we get so many requests for people who want to come and see the school. And we just decided we would have one in the fall and then one in the spring.
Do you know when that's?
So we haven't picked a date just yet.
Okay.
But I'll talk to Ms. Hudson and see if maybe we can do it after spring break.
Okay.
Or before, I'll check with her and see.
I think at least Jessica and I have learned about it kind of last minute last time. And we can mobilize PTA members to help with that, and make sure that some of us are there to talk and help support.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had a couple of questions on when that is, and kind of to Ellie's point, if people are wondering about the school, we can tell them that there's going to be an open house. Yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else that you would want to talk about, Dr. Gaines?
I think I covered all of my notes.
Cool. Any questions before we turn to our presenter? Okay. I'm going to introduce Brian Kelly, who is with Maryland 529. The PTA sponsored a similar presentation last year, and I came and was like, why did I not know about this resource? I was a little bit embarrassed because at that time I had a third grader and a kindergartner. So we thought we would invite them back this year. He has a lot of resources. He's going to give about a 20-minute conversation, so please write down any not conversations, write down any questions that you have, because there will be time for Q&A. Over to
Thank
you,
you.
Brian.
Thank you so much. As it was stated earlier, I will try to allow answers to any questions that you have towards the end of this. I'll stay to the end also. If we need to step out and you want to have a conversation, we can. Also have packets I can pass out afterwards if you are interested in the program. So first, I want to say that I am not a salesperson. What I am here to do is give you information about this program, which is the Maryland 529, a program that your lawmakers have put into place to help with the cost of college, to defray the cost of college. Okay, so my little elevator speech. We are not here to give you a scholarship. We are not a loan program. We're not a grant program. What we do is we help take your money and put that into an investment vehicle so that you can defray the cost of college in the future. So some of you probably have, let's say, Bank of America, and you decided, I'm going to put money away into an account, just a regular savings account or what have you, and you name that account college savings for your kids. Okay? This is a much smarter way to do that. Okay? And we're going to talk about why in just a second. So first, why save for college? Well, an example of how borrowing $25,000 instead of investing can double the out-of-pocket cost of college. You can see by using a 529 plan, it's about $86 per month for 15 years. So that's what you would invest into it. Assuming a 6% annual return, but not representative of any particular investment, this means you will have $25,000 at the end of that to invest for college. Now, if you did take out a loan, or if your child took out a loan, they would have to pay $266 per month, 14 years, with payments starting after accruing interest during college years, assuming a 5.05% interest. And that's kind of low. So, yeah, I think you still can get a 5%, but not all of the money will be 5%. Let's say that you have to fill in certain gaps, and as you know, you have private lenders, so you may be able to get a loan from the government, and then have private lenders who come in, and they're absolutely going to be higher than 5%. I know. So you'll end up paying back, or your child will end up paying back $32,000 to repay the $25,000 worth of student debt. So question, does the state of Maryland offer families a tax-deferred savings option for college? And the answer is yes. We have two programs. One is the Maryland 529 Prepaid College Trust. So College Trust, you'll see that CT at the end of it as we talk further into the presentation. This allows you to lock in tomorrow's tuition based on today's prices, okay? So real quick, if college is $10,000 today, okay, and then in the future when your child is ready to go to school, it balloons to $40,000. That's not your concern. You've already paid off the $10,000 over the term or all at once. And now, when you call us and say, send a check, and then we send a check, okay? That's what happens. Now, the Maryland College Investment Plan, which is managed by T. Rowe Price, is more of an investment opportunity. This is something that will grow. It does not lock anything in, and it's another way to save for college and also to pay for other items that's necessary for college. So what I try to do here is talk about how you can use both plans to help overall defray the cost of college if money was no object, okay? And if money was no object, you would still use these programs, because believe me, people where money is no object, they still use these programs, all right? First, you can choose 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 1 semester, okay? That's what you can choose to do, 1 semester on a college trust. Pay today's prices to help protect you against future increases, okay? Now, let's say you pick 4 years. That's all 4 years that are going to be covered by us, and we're going to tell you what you have to pay per month based on your child's age. So if you have a 6-month-old, you should look to pay less than someone who might have a 15-year-old, okay? Because they're about to go to school, and your 6-month-old has 18 years, okay? Now, you've paid for 4 years of college, tuition now, done, all right? And then what you would do is you would take money, you want to find out how much it would cost to buy books and things, like what is the average for that particular school, or what is the average today, and you would put money into the investment account, and the investment account will help you pay for books, computers, anything that is deemed a school necessity by the IRS, okay? And that's on our website. You can see a list of those things on our website and a list on the IRS's website, okay? So that's how you would do that. And we'll talk a little bit more about the tax benefits and everything that comes along with this and why you would invest in it, even if money was no object. Are there any additional tax benefits? Well, here we go. The prepaid college trust, you can deduct up to $2,500 from your Maryland adjusted gross income per account each year. Payments in excess of $2,500 per account can be carried forward and deducted in future years until the full amount has been deducted, okay? Now, the college investment plan, deduct up to $2,500 from your Maryland adjusted gross income per beneficiary each year. Contributions in excess of $2,500 per beneficiary can be carried forward and deducted for up to the next 10 years. So what does that mean? That means that you don't have to pay on a particular schedule, and you don't have to invest on a particular schedule, okay? You can choose today to go home and put $10,000 into the investment account, That's not locking your tuition in. It's just helping you grow your money, okay? Tax-free from the state and the federal level. Okay? Both of these programs do that. And then you'll be able, with that $10,000 over the next 4 years, you'll be able to make a deduction on your taxes, okay? So you don't have to think, well, I guess all I can do is put $2,500 and I'm done, I have to wait the next year. You can start to accrue higher interest and returns just by putting it in there today. And the minimum you can put into the investment account today is $25. So that went down from $250 last year. They lowered it to $25 to help help everyone step into the program, okay? Now, the two plans that are available, you can contribute the $2,500 to both and take a $5,000 deduction in the same year if you contribute more than the $2,500. So mom can do it, and then dad can do it, and then together you'll have a combined $10,000 for your deduction that year, okay? Now, anyone who is a Maryland resident and cares about the future of your child's education can contribute. If they're not a Maryland resident, they can still contribute, they just won't get any tax benefits because they don't live in Maryland. But if you have your grandmother, uncle, aunt, what have you, and they want to give money to save for college, this is a great option for them to do so. We only have one contributor here. You can have more than one, and then they can take a tax deduction on that money at the end of the year also. Okay. Are there age or residency restrictions? Can I enroll in time? So, as you can see, there are age restrictions for the prepaid college trust, open to 12th graders or younger, including newborns. The reason why it ends at 12th grade is because it needs to be 3 years for you to be vested into the program. If a 12th grader comes in, that means that when they are vested into the program, they'll be seniors in college, okay? So, anyone before that can. So if you have a junior, you have a sophomore, I was freshman. then you're good. When they're a freshman in college, then you would have been invested into a program, and now that's for the prepaid. Now that's for the prepaid college trust. So either the account holder or child must reside in Maryland or DC at the time. DC does not have schools that are linked to it because it's not a state. So we treat people who live in DC as if they're Marylanders. Okay, and the same might be true for Virginia. So you might, if you live in DC, you might want to take a look at maybe Virginia's plans too. Again, I'm not a seller. I'm here to try to give you information. So if Virginia is a better deal for you, then you should do that. Okay. The enrollment period is starting now, and December 1st through May 31st. The reason why it's December through the 31st, so that we in May, so that we can, once May hits, then schools reevaluate how much things will cost for the future, for the next year, and then they have all that information over to us before December, sometime in November, and then that's when we open enrollment to tell you how much you'll be paying this year for the future. Okay? So the investment plan, invest for children or adults. There are no age restrictions. That is right. If you want to save, put money away. If you decided you want to go get a certificate, a trade at a school that has a FAFSA, it can be a trade school. If you have decided that for you personally, okay, you can, instead of paying that money out of your pocket, you can put it into a 529 program for you, and then you can use that money to go to school, okay? And by passing it through the 529 plan, you're just giving yourself a tax deduction and allow that money to grow, okay? So this is for, if you got kids in college, you can do this tonight. If you know you're gonna go back, and again, quick, if it has a FAFSA, it'll work, okay? So all you need to really remember about that. Then you can use that to go back to school. No Maryland or DC residency requirements. You can, if you have a child in another state, you can invest into our Maryland 529 program here for them to go to school, okay? Enrollment open year round. And then there's a weird little trick that we do here. If the enrollment period for the college trust is closed, you can actually open an investment plan. Once you get your paperwork for the investment plan, you can enroll into the college trust. It's weird, but now you have an account, and that's a different game. So I like telling people that things are weird, laws are weird, but that's how you play that game. Maryland is in the name. Can the plans only be used at Maryland colleges? Plans can be used nationwide, okay? But as I tell people, quick, it's easier in Maryland, right? We want to keep you here, right? You said you didn't pay Maryland tax, right? So we want to make it easier for you to stay here, because when you stay here, you spend money here, you tax here, right? You're probably going to stay here after school, so the brains don't leave, brains stay. So that's what we really want to focus on, okay? Keeping people here. Now, for the college trust, it's 4-year colleges and universities, in-state, out-of-state, 2-year community college. Again, you can choose to do 2 years of a community college for your child, and then 2 years of a 4-year institution. You are not locked into doing 4 years of this. Again, 1 semester of a community college, 1 semester of a 4-year institution. Whatever works with your budget, and then moving forward, let's say next year, you strike it rich, your idea finally hits. You can, at that time, buy more time for school for your child. So you don't have to buy all 4 years today and say, or 1 semester and say, I missed the boat, I can't invest anymore or do anything else. You can add on additional time. Tuition and mandatory fees or minimum benefit at Maryland Public College, that's to cover expenses, okay? When it comes to the college trust, up to the weighted average tuition for minimum benefit at private or out-of-state colleges, okay? So that means that we're gonna look at how many college kids are going to school at the colleges in Maryland, right? We're going to take that average, but it's a weighted average, which means that we won't say there's 10 colleges, this is how much they cost. That's $25,000. We're going to say, where do people go to school? And then if there's 100,000 kids in this school and 10,000 kids in this school, and the 100,000 kids are paying more, then you'll get more of a benefit. Okay? So doing the weighted average actually works out in your favor. Okay? Because the bigger colleges typically cost a bit more. Room and board and books eligible when beneficiary receives a scholarship. So again, you're going to get out of this program what you put into it. So if you already know your kid is a brainiac and they're going to have their tuition taken care of, and even with this program, you can still get the room, board, and books with the college trust. You can still get that paid for, just like if you had an investment. So don't think that, well, college trust, my kid's going to get a 4-year ride. Well, they're going to have to pay something, probably. And if they do, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. Okay, so you're not going to lose that money. Eligible education institutions, 4-year colleges, in-state, out-of-state, 2-year community college. This is what I was talking about, trade and technical schools who have a federal school code, that's the FAFSA. Expenses for tuition in connection with enrollment or attendance at a K-12 public, private, or religious school. So if this school was a tuition school, even though it's public, you would be able to use this program to do that. Now, you are not currently able to buy things for school for K-12 with this program, meaning if you had a uniform or a computer or something to that effect, you are not able to do that, but you are able to do it at the collegiate. When they go to college, you can then use this program for that. Again, you can go to the IRS publication 970. That'll tell you what the information is, what you can spend this money on. Okay? Let's see, I don't have a lot of extra money in my budget. Does it cost a lot to get started? Again, as we talked, you can have a combination of both. They will tell you what those costs are once you make the choice. From there, you are not locked in until you accept that that's what you want to move forward with. So again, you can say how much is it now? How much am I going to pay over a few months? You would call us. We would have that conversation with you. Once you get to that cost plan, then you can stay there. Okay. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say you say 1 year of a 4-year institution, right? And let's say your child's really young, so it's going to be $50 per month. Okay. Now, you're paying the $50 per month, but you're like, that's what I'm comfortable with. I don't want to be locked in for any more money than that. But what I would like to do is to continue saving for college in another way so that I don't have to lock myself into $60 a month, just $50. Well, that's where the investment plan comes into play, where you choose how much you're going to put into the investment plan. So now you have the $50 per month for that 1 year. You already know you're going to pay for 1 year of college for your child. And then in the investment plan, if you work overtime or you have a second job or you do free up some money and you're at the end of the year, you're thinking, I want to put $1,000 over into the investment plan that's separate from the $50 that I'm paying per month, you can do so and then take that tax deduction at the end of the year. Okay. Would I lose my savings if my student doesn't go to college or gets a scholarship? You got options. Okay. So you can apply to cover other eligible expenses, books, room, board, again, outlined by the IRS and on our website. You can defer until graduate school. Okay, so that's the college trust. You can defer until graduate school. They can defer until graduate school. Okay, you can request a refund. We'll get to that in a second. We could transfer it over to the MCIP, which is the investment plan. The investment plan has a lot of flexible options. We'll get to that in a second. You could transfer the unused benefits to another child. Okay. That has a time limit. Like you keep jumping in. I believe that it's 10 years after the benefit would have kicked in. Meaning if you had a child who was 6 months old, at 18, they were supposed to go to school, they have up until they're 28 to use that money, okay? Then you don't lose it, it transfers into the investment plan, okay? Now, let's talk about the investment plan. We're gonna get back to that request of refund. You can defer until graduate school. The investment plan, you can transfer to another family member. You can this is the one that's super flexible because you can transfer it to another family member. You can transfer it to yourself. You're another family member. It was for your kid, you're another family member. You can transfer it to a cousin, to an uncle, okay? You can transfer it to a number inside your family as a way for you to invest in school, as a way for you to invest in the future of your family's school, okay? You can change the beneficiary to yourself, as you said, or you distribution. But let's talk about request a refund, because really taking the distribution would be requesting a refund, okay? So your child doesn't want to go to school. They're going to become a recording artist. They're not going to have any more kids. They've already cleared that up. There'll be no more kids, okay? No cousins, it's a small family. You want to buy a boat, okay? You invest in this, I'm going to get a boat for this money, all right? The $10,000 we talked about earlier, okay? You're going to get that money back. Why? Because you already paid taxes on it. The money you put in there was already taxed from the state and the federal level. What we're talking about is the gains. That's where you're tax-free, okay? So let's say altogether is $20,000. You put in the $10,000 minus a small paperwork fee of about $100, you'll get that $10,000 back. Now let's talk about the gains, which was $10,000. You have to pay tax on it. You'll be taxed on that money at the rate of when you request that refund. So not at today's rate, but whatever that future rate is, okay? And when you get that money back, it's all yours, okay? Now you pay taxes on it for the state and federal level, and now it's your money to do with it and go get that book, all right? But again, if you don't want to pay taxes on it, if it's not something that you have to touch, you can roll it over if you're in a CT and you know you're going to miss the time. You can roll it over into an investment plan, change it back to yourself, wait for your child to have a grandchild, then change that beneficiary to the grandchild, and they'll have that attached to them for when they're ready to go to school. Okay? And the money will keep growing from there because the investment plan is just that. It's an investment plan, which means it's not going to peak in 10 years. It's going to keep growing tax-free for whoever is using it in the future. Okay. And we're going to push through. What is the state contribution program and how do I qualify? Really quick, the state, what they're doing to invest. Here are the individual and joint incomes that you have to make. Here's the state contribution. This program starts at the beginning of the year. You gotta really get in there in order to get the money. We don't know about when they're gonna make those choices. It's a limited amount of money that is set aside from the state, okay, from the General Assembly. So you get in there and put in the paperwork and they fill these requests until they can no longer fill them, until the money is gone. Now, you're probably saying, can I take that tax deduction and get this money? Of course not. Of course not. So pretty much this is going to be your deduction. Either way, you're either going to put the money, all the money in there and then get your deduction, or you're going to apply for this tax benefit state country.
Right?
Yes.
Like, is it today's price of that university, or is it today's weighted average?
It'll be everything in the future. So if your child decides to go to NYU, okay, even though if you bought, let's say 4 years, if you bought 4 years of a 4-year institution, then, talk to your kid about going to school for 2 years here, full benefit, right? Because you want them to take the full benefit as much as possible and then transfer them to NYU. When they go to NYU, let's say a public college, the college that we would fully cover here, $40,000 a year. We're gonna pay the full $40,000. If they go to NYU, and NYU is $40,000 a year, right? But we did the math and did the weighted average and found out that the weighted average in Maryland is $30,000. Then we'll send a check up there for $30,000 to NYU to get the $10,000. Okay?
And how much money would we have put in?
You would put in whatever the cost. So again, that's a future cost. And all this is hypothetical. So today you would have put in $10,000, right? 18 years from now, we're assuming that the baby's almost here, or she's 3 days old. Okay? In 18 years, she'll be ready to go to college. By then, instead of $10,000, the cost would have grown to $40,000. Again, purely hypothetical. That seems crazy, but who knows? We would be on the hook for the $30,000 extra. You've already paid the $10,000 because you paid that to find investment vehicles to grow that money in order to send your kid to school at that time. And again, she has 10 years after that in order to use those funds. Or you can roll it into covered at an institution here in Maryland for your tuition based on today what you pay, right? The second.
Yeah, sorry, and fully covered just in a public institution here in Maryland?
Yes.
Okay.
At a public institution here, not at a private institution, that's a different ballgame. But if they went to University of Maryland, Baltimore, those types of public institutions, so we're still covering you. And again, your investment will still be higher than what you put in. You'll always get back you'll get back what you put in, based on what the cost is at those universities, which will obviously climb. Then you get the weighted average. And that's where the investment plan comes into play, because you can put money in there also. And then you can take that money from the investment plan and send that to NYU to cover the $10,000. You see what I mean? So that's kind of why you have those two plans. No problem. And let me know if I need to further explain. I will. Yes, ma'am.
Just from my understanding, so the program that you're talking about, the prepaid trust, that's more like insurance in a sense, just for me to kind of understand. So like you're basically, if I wanted to just get an understanding of it,
Yes.
you're kind of like for it as insurance in a sense.
That's a good way to think of it.
Okay.
Absolutely. And the college trust would be the good way to think of the insurance.
Okay.
So we can do that if you want. The college trust is like insurance, right? Today. And then in the future, as long as they're going to a public institution in Maryland, it does not matter how much it costs.
Okay.
$10,000 today could be $100,000 in the future.
If
Okay.
it falls within the weighted average.
No, at the public university.
Okay.
In Maryland, fully covered.
Oh, okay.
At a private institution in the state or out of the state, it's the weighted average that's within here. And you can find the weighted average. We don't put it on the presentation, but it is on the website what the weighted average is today, to kind of give you an idea of what it is. And that's exactly what you'll be paying, the weighted average of how much it costs to go to school now. Okay. And then the investment plan is like you opening up a T. Rowe Price account, right? It would be like if you opened up any investment vehicle and put money into stock market bonds, it'll do a mix of both. You do with it. If you want to keep it more in stocks in this time, or you can set it and forget it, where they'll say, if you have a 6-month-old, we're going to keep you more in high growth risky. And then as they get older, closer to using the money, we're going to pull that back down to something that's less risky.
And this one you're locked in. I noticed you say locked in.
Yep, and this one here, you're locked in. Okay, the college
So
trust.
once I agree to it, I'm locked into.
That's right. Now, what happens if you fail to meet your obligation? Let's say you put $5,000 in there And they said, no, you actually have to put 6,000 in there. But you're like, I don't have any more money. I can't do it. Then we convert your trust into an investment plan. You're not losing this money. Okay? We'll just change the vehicle for which your money is invested, and we'll put it over here. Now, again, you're not locked in once it's an investment, and it's going to be at what it is then. Okay? And it's going to grow, but you won't be locked into that year like you originally agreed to because you didn't finish the payment. Okay? I saw one more question. And
So like, if you pay the locked-in amount, you have unlimited investment plan, could you have, like, say you were $1,000 short, you take the money from the investment plan and put it into the
That's a really good question that nobody has ever asked me before. Because money that people are controlling themselves, like they're meeting they're meeting this obligation first before they even get to this, because they control how much they put in here and how fast and how quickly. So putting money into this plan when you haven't fully met or believe you're not going to meet this obligation, usually ask, but I can get your information and get back to you on that. But we also have more resources on the website. Okay?
So, okay, this is a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that, so, let's see if I got that right. The number of semesters you get in the college trust.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So, and also the age of your child.
Oh, okay.
Because again, if you have a 6-month-old and you're getting 1 year, that's going to be one price. And if you have a 15-year-old and you have 1 year, that's going to be another price, because you're going to have to finish those payments before they're vested, and that has to happen before the 3-year mark. Whereas with a younger child, right, you'll have more like 10 years to really pay that all off. Thank you.
Thank you. And Brian has packets too that can we leave these here in case people want to pick them up?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We definitely have a theme going on because Dr. Gaines talked about budgeting, this is about investment, and now we need to talk about for the PTA. So I'm going to turn it over to Anil, who's going to give a quick report. And then we also, I think I handed them out. On your tables, there should be our proposed budget for next year. It'll say fiscal year 20 at the top of it, and he's going to walk you through it and let you know what we're for the draft. So this is something for you all to react to tonight. We don't vote on this until our May PTA meeting, so we have time to, think this through and make some switches if we need to.
Good.
Over to you now.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, my name is Anil, and I'm the treasurer for the Greenwood Elementary School PTA. So from the treasurer's report, our total funds as of today is about $17,000. And since February, we have added one more member. So we are at 99 right now.
Somebody talk to your friends. We need to hit 100 this year.
We need one more, at least, right? So that was one new membership that came in since last meeting. Other than that, total expenses since last meeting are only $363.
Since the last meeting.
Since last
Yeah,
month. Since last month. The last February meeting was a very high number. That's all really right here from the treasurer's report. As Sarah mentioned, we do have a draft budget for 1920. And did you want to talk about specific items that you want to talk about, or just?
No, I think we just go through the whole thing kind of quickly.
Okay. So as compared to 18-19 budget close, we are only budgeting $40 over over 18-19 budget. So it's 10,040. Balance out up to that. So income is 18,550, and total are 18,510. So that's where the $40 come in.
So maybe I can just talk a little bit about the balance or the income that we're projecting.
Yeah.
We looked back at the last couple of years, so up at the top where we have dues, the book sale, Raphael's race, general fundraisers, and the miscellaneous income. In the dues collected, there is a change to the Maryland PTA's dues. They're increasing what we owe to them by $1.50 to keep our what you pay still at $10. So we're just factoring in that we're going to make a little less money there, but the reality is that the dues is all money making. So that's what we're proposing for that. And we roughly estimated 80 members. We're hoping that we would get more than that, conservative. The Labor Day book sale, we increased by $500 because for the last couple of years, what we've budgeted versus what we've made, we've under budgeted what we've made, so we thought, why not, bump it up a little bit. Raphael's race, we kept consistent, and I think general fundraisers and the miscellaneous, we also projected that we'd be bringing in about what we have the last couple of years. So those numbers are based on actuals from the last couple of years of PTA's budgets, and it comes up to over 18.5. That makes sense. And then maybe down in the expenditure closing.
Yep. So for expenditures, again, school support remains the same. Agenda books is one which is about budgeting last year. Field trips was 1,500 last year. We have bumped that up to 2,000. And this year, field trips board was based on the profits. So it was already 2,080 and change for this year. So we increased that with some extra support for field trips. Labor Day book sale, same as last year. Raphael's race, we added, actually reduced the budget by based on the last couple of years actuals. This includes the Camp Sunshine donation that we make every year. And actually, last year we had made 150 Sunshine. This year we made that donation to about $200. So that was an increase. Spring fair and such in terms of general fundraising, same. Teacher and staff appreciation remains the same. Art support remains the same. Music support is the same. Graduation support, we looked at the actuals and we reduced about that number of $600 down by $250. Recess equipment is something that's added proposal this year. So that's a $250 new proposal for dues for Maryland PTA, as Sarah mentioned, the cost went up by $1.50. So estimating over 80 members, that we're in. And everything else in terms of liability and PTA officers, insurance, childcare during PTA, and they all remain the same. So the key items I think we need to talk about is probably the recess equipment. That was a new proposal, additional support on field trips, and agenda books.
So I had asked Dr. Deans about the agenda books because last year, actually this year, we had under budgeted, so we overspent on that amount a little bit. And I'm 100% clear if that was like a high priority thing for teachers or school as a whole. And as we were thinking of, what we've been hearing from the PTA membership on trying to support more money when the slips come home for your students, it's less that each family is required to pay. And from Dr. Gaines' perspective, she's going to talk to the teachers about that. I think from what I'm understanding at the school to help with the organization, particularly in the higher grades. But I think maybe Mr. Richardson was going to or will ask to sort of get a need we need to order so that we can see if that 900 is above or below and we can kind of adjust accordingly. Elliot,
But our agenda books and who do we order them for?
not all of the students. Starting in second grade, the students get agenda books per student, yeah. And I think maybe some teachers use them more than other teachers. My daughter uses it somewhat religiously, but that's kind of her personality. They come home with the kids every day. I honestly don't know how those
And
teachers.
so basically, like what we use as adults, a calendar, but it's child friendly, it has each subject there. And so, you're in class and the teacher says, okay, tonight I want you to read pages 7 through 10. So instead of paper, we say, write it in your agenda books, Next Friday, we have a field trip, be sure to bring your money, make a note in your agenda book. And so it's a tool it's an organizational tool. We like to start in second grade to get kids to kind of take some ownership of their learning, be responsible, follow when it's time for STEM fair. You have the question, you have the hypothesis due on this thing. So it's just another way to kind of organize students.
And they're really nice. And we're not suggesting that this is not a worthwhile thing. It's just, because we had inherited this, making sure that this is where we want to be putting the money.
Could this be part of the list, school list, part of,
These are given to the students.
it can be put on the supply list?
Oh.
And so we've done it before where we can put it on a school list because everybody can go to the company and purchase one. But we've done it before where we purchased them and then we sell the agenda books. And so we used to sell them for $5, but some kids would have them. I would say probably the kids that need them the most don't have them. And so that's why we came years ago to ask if you could support it. Because all the kids do need to learn how to start being organized and keeping track of everything that's going on, whether it's that I have soccer practice at my agenda book because I know I have this paper due or this project due on Friday. So we kind of got away from selling them because, like I said, the kids who needed them the most purchase them.
Which is kind of the same with schools. We'll just kind of look back maybe between now and May when we have to vote on this. We can just double check if this number is accurate.
The question is, you said you're going to, but I know you will survey the parents. Do you think that's something we can
We can put it on the
yeah,
student
because I find it helpful with the
Okay.
parents. Our initial on there.
And so a lot of times when we're in conferences, we tell parents, check the agenda book. Like the teachers, I'm in the classrooms and sometimes in the morning, the first thing they say is the homework is up there. Take out your agenda book while you're eating breakfast and write down your homework for the day. And so when we have parents, we're telling them, like when my daughter, she's older now, but when she was in elementary school, she knew, Cindy, when you come home, I need to see your agenda book, and it was just a routine. So she couldn't tell me that she didn't write her homework down or, make it up.
It's just like if that coming here, so that or December or February, or
And then some kids, if you come from a school, like most schools use the agenda books. So sometimes they with an agenda book already.
do you get like a reduction on one of the walks? So like when you go like with another school and get like more, like sometimes for infant, for instance, if you do like 200, then if you do 500, you get another price. Do we, go to middle school if they're using them too, to try to see if that would reduce the price?
Do it like elementary school on them, they're, it's branded for our school. That's something we can certainly look into.
And with Greenbelt.
Greenbelt, yeah.
Yeah, and it just depends on how they pay for them. If their school pays for them, then you couldn't be able to do it because that's why, another reason why we asked you to do it. It's not just things through the school budget, it's a whole different set of rules that we have to follow. So that wouldn't work to do the two schools together unless their PTA was paying for it.
Yeah, which, that's what I was thinking, is I can reach out to the PTA and ask. My guess is no, because I think their PTA is just a little more organized and streamlined, but I will reach out. The other thing that's the change in here that I did want to draw a little more attention to is the graduation support. We took the money, the 200 bit for the snacks, but we tend to keep perishable food items. We try to keep and use again. But by the end of the year, and I've done a bunch of research, and I so that there's more to go on. That's the proposal.
One of the pieces of information that I don't have yet is how many kids are outside at one time. Anybody heard of that?
Say it one more time, I'm sorry.
How many kids are at recess?
It was one grade level at a time, so about 100, anywhere from 100 to 130 kids.
Then, I mean, yeah, I was doing this based on, I thought there were 60, but if there's a, up to 300, or is that?
I would say, speaking from when I taught at another school, the PTA also supplies with recess equipment, which is wonderful. But so quickly, it just got lost or broken, and I would say, let's use this as a trial year and just see if it's cared for, like maybe get a system. Since this is new.
Yeah.
Ropes. I don't know that we want to go through the whole proposal, but it's just normal things that you would play with on the playground. That would be able to, that is out there. So there's like
So many questions, and it's not that.
we basically had to just reach out to us with any questions or concerns.
Has there been any conversation about, like, looking to increase income in future years?
Want to be able to balance sort of events where people just come and kind of socialize and have fun together with the fundraising events, which take an inordinate amount of time, and we already struggle to get enough volunteers for the events that we're already sponsoring. So it's a little bit of a bandwidth issue. I'll fully admit. So I think, you know, if we could with these income generation, or we could put that as a priority for next year, see how it works, and then as we develop the budget for the subsequent year, be able to again take manpower.
So we wanted to fundraiser for the PTA.
You can bring it to the PTA. I mean, Dr. Gaines, he would want her, you know, making sure that it was, you know, something associated with, but keep it from the school. But we still need volunteers for the Labor Day Festival. We need volunteers for Raphael's Race, and we're often the teacher and staff appreciation budget goes for a couple of things throughout the year. We do a welcome at the beginning of the year. They did a breakfast, I think it was a breakfast in December, early December, yeah, you all. And then the majority of the funds goes to the paying anything for supplies for that for the bridge.
We'll be fine, but it's just. I'm saying that, don't.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have actually anything to report, so I'm going to turn it over to you. But first, Ms. Morrison, and I want wanted to turn it
But I'm looking for more opportunities for the course. We have a good group of like four. And so I contacted them and he said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. The date that he gave us is June 13th, which was not to be so I was getting more. And I mean, we're right on budget, but we do have savings. So in terms of making sure that we're not overspending, this is really sort of fronting the money for the music. Right, like
department.
it all back.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically a loan that the PTA would give the music department. And I think it's a great idea. I will say that since I've been here at Greenbelt Elementary, whenever we do things at the Bowie Bay Sox, it seems to be relatively well attended. It's eight events. Yeah, so I guess
Vendors, we have donuts, they, but supplement that food with, depending on whatever vendor we have that day. So we have a lot of opportunities to volunteer. We'd like some help decorating the school before that week. Appreciation notes up. We need help at every meal. We don't have the exact schedule yet about what day will be what meal, but every day it will be either breakfast or lunch. Need help prepare a few of the meals where we'll need to chop a bunch of fruit the night before. So if evenings work better for you, then just let us know. We can find evening activities that would be very helpful. And let's see, questions? I think last year she did not ask for volunteers considering I already know what that looks like because you had to do so much.
And I think the feedback we've gotten from the teachers is that it's very appreciated. And March 11th, Marvelous is also an early release day, which is a new thing. Some teachers, kids, on March 28th, here at the school at 7 workshop,